I'm feeling a very dark energy off of this.
Yeah, that final boss of Gun that we've definitely recorded sure was something, wasn't it?
It was amazing. We laughed, we loved, we lost.
I gotta say, I was not expecting Mothra to show up and just obliterate the Confederate army in one hit.
Who knew Mothra was a Green Bay fan?
Anyway, yeah, you can select waypoints where they appear. That's something they made just for this version of the game. This is Hydrophobia Prophecy. It is actually a total remake that was made of this game for the PlayStation Network and the PC. We're playing the PC version, but it's not the only version of the game that we'll be playing, because there was an original version of this game that came out 1 year before, exclusively on Xbox Live Arcade. This is Hydrophobia. It came out in September of 2010 as part of a promotion called Games Feast on Xbox Live.
Oh, I do not have room for Hydrophobia. I'm full on the rest of the good games.
Well, it's only $1. So,
oh, well, I mean, there's always room for Jello.
So, Dark Energy were originally a company called Blade Interactive. They made the occasional racing game, but mostly they were known for licensed games with the World Snooker Championship.
There's a World Snooker Championship?
Yeah, they went from making pool games to making a game with pools in it. So we're playing on easy on Hydrophobia, normal on Hydrophobia Prophecy. These FMVs are the same in both versions. It's just slightly higher resolution on the PC version.
Okay, so they goosed it up a little bit, at least.
Actually, they did make some changes, but we won't be seeing them for a little bit yet. In the original version, this is foreshadowing to an event that never happens, because they didn't have time to put it in.
Well, that's always a good sign.
But in the remake, they actually did have time. Oh, by the way, that was supposed to be scary.
It was not.
But in the original, although in the remake, they actually did have time to put that plot point back in. This looks ugly. Let's switch back to the goosed up version on PC.
Uninterrupted coverage of the Queen of the World's 10th anniversary celebrations. Earlier, we had the chance to speak to nanocell head scientist.
Oh, that actually doesn't look half bad.
Yeah, and it runs at a pretty consistent 60 FPS on my rig.
Deliver a brighter future.
The catastrophic effects of the population.
Hey, party of the century, bro!
Yeah, man!
Spring break!
We give you some poppers on a boat! Woo!
They make the deserts bloom with food for all mankind.
Too bad about the global population crisis, though.
That's a real shame.
That's kind of a downer. Anyway, welcome to Hydrophobia Prophecy. We're Kate Wilson. She's a systems engineer. And apparently she takes sleeping pills.
Wait, what?
That's not good. Just having antihistamines lying around on your table there.
It's a party boat, man. What can I say?
Yeah, you need a real downer during your party. Anyway, this is an object. There are 72 documents and objects in both versions of the game. I will try to be collecting all of them. And this is a textbook that she has lying around from her days at school. This is classical engineering.
As one is wont to do.
And if you press the enter key, you can have a closer look at any objects that you pick up. Oh, by the way, she had a PhD in systems engineering from Oxford.
You'd think she'd be something better than a mechanic on a boat.
No, she's like in charge of the security system here.
Oh.
Anyway, let's go over to the window. This cutscene is optional in the PC version and PS3 version, but in the XBLA version, for whatever reason, it's mandatory. I don't entirely understand why.
We're going to force you to look at the ugly version. Looking at the pretty version is optional.
Yeah, so there was a journal entry that we just got. That's another type of collectible, but those are gotten automatically, for the most part, as part of the story. So we're supposed to collect something called a Mavi. I don't know what that is, but it's over here.
Hey, listen!
Scoot?
So, Scoot, they changed his voice actor. This is what he used to sound like.
Anything I should know about?
The party of the century is happening on your doorstep, and you're staying at home.
He sounds a little different, as you
I'm gonna
can
check on the
tell.
network.
You know I don't.
He
feel
didn't
like
have the
doing
power.
Welcome to the original version of Hydrophobia.
Oh my god!
And also, yeah, as I pointed out before, this is mandatory cutscene. This version is ugly. It plays horribly, and yeah, it's awful. Please don't play this version.
It looks like it's running on a beta of the Max Payne 1 engine.
That's being generous. Also, there's no upstairs in this version, or in the XBLA version. You could see there's extra documents and objects that are on the top floor that got moved there for Prophecy, but they're all on the bottom floor on XBLA. So over here we have a swimming certificate of achievement that Kate got when she was in 7th grade, which is odd because Kate is Irish. I think they use the form system, or maybe it's supposed to be like a grade 7.
Yeah.
And also, we picked up a document. We're not going to be looking at the documents, at least not in detail. That's going to be in a separate video, but we will be looking at the objects. So even though Kate is a systems engineer, she still keeps herself in shape with these nice wristbands with a soft terry cloth interior to help with moisture.
Comfy.
And reflective trim.
She's a very trendy workout person.
And hand grips, with sturdy spring coil resistance and padded non-slip handles for extra comfort. But over here, we're going to have the most important collectible of all after picking up this document. But here, this is very important. Mrs. Roy the donkey. Wherever you go, Roy can come too, but please remember he's smaller than you. What he lacks in size, he makes up for in joy, so there's no better friend than little old Roy.
Aww.
I'm pretty sure they didn't change the texture for the XBLA version, though. Also, we got a medal for finding all of the objects in Kate's apartment. Medals are like the in-game achievements in this game. Also, look, there's a young Kate, and she's holding Roy.
Aww.
And there's Kate at Oxford with her parents at a graduation ceremony.
Roy absent.
Yeah, I think she outgrew him by that time. And then at this point she's old enough that she's, getting nostalgia again for her old childhood toys. Now, still no signal. We gotta call the repairman. Kate may have a PhD in systems engineering, but she still can't work her TV properly.
She just gets crap reception.
Also, I appreciate that they have these pants here as a detail to show that Kate's really messy, but the pant of the illusion really is kind of ruined when there's no physics on the pants at all. They're just glued to the table.
Oh no, her kitchen's offline. Those dishes are never going to get done. Okay, so she's smart, she's athletic. I hope they're not foreshadowing something.
Please stand clear. Shuttle arriving at station.
So this is one of the FMVs they did change for the PC version. That's because they, in addition to giving Scoot a new voice, they also gave him a new character model for the remake.
Too busy to argue with you.
Where are you?
So this is what he looks like in the remake.
A little greasy, but okay.
This is what he used to look like.
I'm working so that you can.
I actually kind of prefer that original version, because he looks way more like some schmuck from IT who just comes over, like just kicks your computer a couple of times and says, "Hey there, it's working now. Can you give me my £300, please?"
I was gonna say he looks kind of like Ed from Shaun of the Dead.
God, what did Ed do to deserve that comparison?
I know, right?
Oh, by the way, the elevator just exploded. The ship's being taken over. Something's happening, at least. Also, check out some of the amazing editing here. There's very faint noise in the background that's supposed to foreshadow the thing that never got properly foreshadowed in the original version. at least. And now check out this amazing cut here.
I think so.
Well, now would be a good time.
Fade. Jump. Fade.
Jesus! Where am I?
The hull is breached. A deck is flooding.
A-deck? What am I doing on A-deck?
Yes, we're pressing the Y button to jump. It's like this is Devil May Cry 1 or something.
Yeah. Homie, don't play that.
This is... Yeah, the controls are unbelievably awkward in this version. So, yeah, climbing is terrible. I think we've seen enough of this. So, let's just go back and do that properly on the better version of the game.
What am I doing on A-deck?
Much better. They actually have decent controls now, and a lot of the climbing is automatic now. And they've actually color-coded things, so you can tell what you're supposed to climb on.
That is a lot nicer.
And they don't have the fixed camera angle anymore, so you can actually sort of tell where you're going.
It's like someone handed the game back to them and said, F, redo and resubmit.
You joke about that, but that's actually kind of what they did to themselves. That was kind of the post-launch system that they set up for themselves. I'm going to have to talk at some point about how they handled all of the post-launch criticism, because that's a sordid drama in and of itself.
What about you? Are you okay?
I'm fine. Desal wasn't hit, at least not yet. But I'll leave when you're safe.
So not all of the medals are for, like, really big achievements. Some of them are for really mundane things. Like, for instance, just for checking this door to see if it's working or not, we get the Systems Engineer medal. After escaping the elevator shaft, examine the malfunctioning door.
Shit's blown up. Better check the door.
Hey, we're doing our job. I mean, just because the ship's exploding doesn't mean, she's not on the clock. Alright, so let's have a look at our map.
Calling the fire? No, calling the door.
Alright, so this is our map. Doesn't look very useful now. However, if we hit the E key, it's a 3D map.
Okay, that's nice already.
It works identically in the XBLA version, but it's actually way worse because it's really hard to control on a gamepad.
Jesus! Who did this?
Hey, they actually put in a Wilhelm scream properly.
Yes!
Which means this game is already better than Gun.
No camera tricks, no audio editing.
So, some people complained when this game first came out that Kate was too whiny. That she complained too much.
Scoot! My security level has been reset! I'm trapped down here!
Oh, crap. Somebody's
But
breached the
honestly, I
network.
mean, she's not Lara Croft or Samus. She's just a systems engineer. It takes her quite a while for her to become anything close to being a badass.
Okay,
I mean,
scanning.
she starts out
There's a console
basically
level above.
as a panicked wreck because, I mean, yeah, she's just a regular systems engineer.
Without us knowing.
So this is kind of like Poseidon Adventure meets Die Hard.
With a bit of the politics of Bioshock, as we'll be seeing later.
Ooh.
Also, I like how they keep the Queen of the World keeps their graphic design consistent on their garbage cans. Their garbage bins, sorry. Also, the water is very pretty in this game. This game actually, I'm not even joking, this game has revolutionary water technology. I'll have to get into that later.
Right. Download the hack program from the central console.
Okay, so for this cutscene, I'm actually going to switch over to the XBLA version, because I cut out a part of it just for
I need
pacing
to use that
reasons.
console. Hey!
Surprise!
Oh.
He's dead!
What?
Gates is dead! The monitors!
Well, whoever these guys are, they have a really good video editor on staff. I gotta hire this guy.
They sublet the guy that does the videos for Umbrella Corp.
Kate!
Save the world.
And then eventually this guy would go on to work for Jack Black's YouTube channel.
It's been broadcast all over the ship. I'll look into it. Just get the hack program and get the hell out of there.
Well, before we get that hacking program, we've got a couple of collectibles to pick up. So like I mentioned before, we're not going to be looking at the documents yet. That's going to be in a separate video. One video per part, depending on all the documents that we pick up. That's not very nice.
Oh.
Don't tell people to kill yourselves, especially not with that kind of frowny face there. So this Queen of the World replica, this is the only chance that we actually get to see the Queen of the World like at a decent scale. Like there's no full motion video where we actually get to see what she looks like.
It's a city on a boat.
Yes. Yeah, it is basically we've had a city in the sky, a city under the sea, now we have a city on top of the sea. I gotta say, these terrorists, or whoever they are, they're very proficient.
Excellent handwriting, good control of the spray can.
They moved in quickly and got their graphic design right away.
Their marketing is on point.
Yep.
We're gonna have to hack back into our own
So,
system.
Kate's mouth flapping
Access.
is,
The security control
in
is
Prophecy it's constant when she talks, but on XBLA she doesn't have any mouth flapping at all. So, pick your poison. Too much or none at all.
Wait a second. What is that?
What are you talking about?
I'm sure there are no explosions that are about to happen. Oh no!
Shooting. Run! Kate?
They also re-recorded a lot of Kate's lines in Prophecy,
Okay.
the remake, just to make her sound a little more natural with Scoot's new voice actor.
Same actress, though?
Same actress, yeah.
Damn!
Okay.
I can't get to it.
Is there another way around?
Well, this is an action-adventure game. We gotta have our platforming and climbing sections in here.
Well, you did say go to the shuttle plaza.
Now, it's a little hard to tell here because we're using a lower resolution version for our recording, but there's a battle going on between these mysterious terrorists and the security forces on the lower deck.
Down there.
I guess the security force found the bad guys.
You'll be able to see it in the higher version that I upload, in the high-res version that I upload to YouTube. So we're gonna take a little bit of a detour because there's an object over on this side here, and we got a medal for that. So let's see what this object is. Oh hey, it's an anniversary pamphlet for the 10th anniversary celebration of the Queen of the World sailing.
Why is it up there?
I don't know, because they needed a collectible there. So basically, I mean, she's been sailing for 10 consecutive years. Basically, it's the equivalent of a retirement cruise, but for people under the age of 65. Yeah, we could balance beam, etc. It's a little clunky, but it works,
Sure.
So, we're actually going to be switching back to the XBLA version for this, because there's a hacking minigame coming up, and I want to show both versions of it.
There's a lot of red in the XBL arcade version.
Yep.
What's going on down there?
I guess the security force found the bad guys.
Alright, so this is what the hacking security consoles in the XBLA version is a pretty standard twin-stick minigame.
Excuse me, miss. You do know it's a crime to hack the ship.
What was that, Scoot? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. The audio engineer was asleep at his job.
Ken, just keep it quiet. I've got a reputation.
What was that? Hello?
Scoot!
Can't hear you, Scoot.
Just let the good old days, okay? Now back to the main assignment.
Gimme that rubbish, you wee blarney bucking knocky fucky.
Okay, so here's the PC version, which I gotta say is probably the single best translation of a twin-stick minigame over to PC that I've ever seen. And I'm not joking, I'm being serious. You just use the mouse.
Oh!
Horizontal controls the amplitude, and vertical controls the wavelength. And you just control the wave using the mouse, that's it. That's all you do. I wish more games did that.
Reminds me a little bit of Arkham City.
Yeah, I guess so. But I seem to remember Arkham City's PC port used A and D and the left and right mouse buttons for PC.
Yeah.
But this one, it's just entirely with the mouse, and it's so intuitive. Perhaps a little too easy, but still, it's really intuitive, and I really like it.
Very well done.
Yeah, there are a lot of smart choices actually that this that this port makes. It's not a good PC port, but it's still decent. And there are some inspired choices, like the hacking minigame.
Whoa, T, are you okay?
What's causing these explosions, Scoot?
I'm detecting another hull breach. Move your ass now!
I don't know why they chose like a tutorial there to jump back, especially because the set piece where you're trying to backtrack there is there. But hold on, I see a collectible. There's this dapper-looking fellow over here. So, anyway, that's another type of collectible, which will get explained next video. Anyway, I'm gonna switch back to the XBLA version for this, just because I want to show off just how good the water looks in the XBLA version. Because, again, this came out in 2010, for reference, and the water looks absolutely amazing.
That does look good.
Just because of the low budget, but also because this is literally the first video game ever made that allowed for dynamic water levels that the player could manipulate and control.
Kate, you're almost there.
I'll get into like the more specific technical aspects of it later on, but this game was revolutionary. As hard as that may be to believe. It's also, what's this over here? I'm sure that we won't be seeing this person later.
Foreshadowing, kids.
Oddly enough, it's really bad foreshadowing in one version and proper foreshadowing in another. I wish I was joking, but no, I'm not. Anyway, we'll go over here, and the last collectible of this video. It's a globe that shows the path that the Queen of the World takes on her constant voyage around the world.
It's always in motion. It's like that movie.
She basically never docks. And she goes around like basically any place where there's any place where there's a port at all. I'm gonna have to like pause the video at some point and sort of look at the path that she takes, but basically it's like an extended cruise line route, essentially.
That's a neat concept.
Hell, the man upstairs must like you. You're directly below security control. You just need to find a way up.
I didn't sign up for this.
Truer words have never been spoken. And there we go.
I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah,
I'm legitimately impressed. There's 2 versions of this game.
3 if you count there's 3 versions if you count the content update that was done for the Xbox Live Arcade version about 4 months after it was released. They released a version called Hydrophobia Pure. I'm deliberately playing the unpatched version because I want to show just how much of a difference there was between day 1 and the mid-2011 remake.
And it does look like a pretty huge jump.
Yeah, like the game they started out with was pretty terrible, but they actually put in the work to go from unplayable garbage to something quite decent.
Oh, I'm excited for this.